Here's an interesting and unique luxury utility vehicle. It's called the Infiniti QX50, and technically it's a crossover SUV, but from a mere glance you notice that it's sort of not. I'll stand near it for scale so you can see it's not tall, towering, or massive. The ride height isn't lifted up, in fact it's almost car-like. Ditto the cargo load floor, which is down low for easy loading, and the step-in height, which is just like a car. You don't climb up, you just sort of slide sideways and down a little into your seat. It's not jacked up like an obnoxious bro truck. It's a crossover that handles like a car, not a wheelbarrow. Really, it's a whole lot less like a crossover SUV and a whole lot more like a station wagon or maybe a luxury sedan wearing a backpack.
And if your priorities for luxury utility fall far from having massive towing capacity, a towering ride height, or for going off-roading, then something like this makes a lot of sense. You get key crossover benefits, elevated seating position, more flexible cargo space, and all-wheel drive, but beyond that, really, this is a whole lot more like driving a car, and a pretty sporty one at that, which makes it my kind of crossover.
Let's look inside. It's snugly comfortable depending on your size, and you don't feel abundant empty space around you like in a bigger model, but you don't feel crowded either. Up front, it's all wood and leather and high-tech interfaces and classy instruments with plenty of attention to detail and craftsmanship, adding an upscale flair. Rear seating is just fine for two adults, thank Infiniti's decision to stretch the wheelbase by a few inches this year to make more legroom in the back. Seatbacks fold up and down with push-button operation, and in all, getting in and out or spending hours at the wheel, it sure doesn't feel like a sports ute. That's because of the sizing and ride height, but more so because of the way this machine is set up. In fact, the way QX50 is dialed in shows itself big time in terms of the ride and handling. On smooth, winding roads, you notice taut suspension that's on the sporty side, backed up with a steering rack that's heavy and quick, giving the QX50 a mischievously confident character in the hands of a driving enthusiast. When the roads get rougher, that sporty suspension exhibits what seems a tremendous level of fine-tuning around the first little bit of suspension travel. There's this softness dialed in around the edges before the suspension takes its set. In all, it's a just right amount of cushioning, surrounding a just right amount of sporty stiffness for a just right ride, whether you're cruising the highway, ripping up a winding road, or heading over a few miles of washboards. And when the going gets rough, that nicely isolated steering stays straight and true and transmits virtually no unwanted harshness back through the wheel. That's in spite of a really decent amount of feedback and feel through the steering of it loading up with the machine's weight and G-forces in corners. So all said, QX50 rides and handles and even steers like a proper luxury sports car, not a crossover as I know them. And guess what? What's under the hood is similarly appealing to a luxury sports car buff too.
So here's the setup for the powertrain. That is one of Infiniti's world-famous V6 engines. It's a VQ series, 3.7 liters, 4 variable camshafts, and a pretty robust 320 horsepower, which makes this both a bit of a sleeper and a bit of a deal since it's one of the most powerful machines anywhere near its price. And the best part, well, this engine has a very high 7,500 RPM redline, meaning you get this peaky surge of high revving power just like you would with a proper sports car engine.
There's a 7-speed automatic, it shifts fast, rev matches, and is smooth as glass. There's intelligent all-wheel drive with plenty of power to the rear axle, which is my favorite because it makes the QX50 downright frisky when you drive the pants off of it. All said, the powertrain here gives this machine the heart and soul of an all-weather sports car, and when you're driving it gently, it's as smooth and refined as you'd expect from a luxury cruiser. Don't miss the loud but pleasing note from the V6 engine opened up or the buttery smooth low-end torque. Driven hard, it's not a quiet engine, but the sound is rich and mechanical. Other notes, the central infotainment system is getting old. It works well, but the graphics are showing their age, and some of the interfaces are a bit fussy, but easily learned and powerful once you get used to it. A slew of radar hazard detection systems lets the QX50 alert you of a potential crash, an unintended departure from your lane, or a car in your blind spot. In some situations, it can even apply its own brakes or steering to prevent certain types of accidents. The Around View 360-degree parking monitor works similarly to boost confidence in tight quarters. And for late-night road trips, the powerful steerable xenon lighting system's potent output is sure to please, and the big Bose stereo system is mighty, vivid, and packs a punch. Off-road capability is obviously not the point of this machine, though relatively tight overhangs and a bit of ground clearance will help tackle light to moderate trails without scraping. For winter, there's even this snow mode switch which recalibrates the all-wheel drive system and throttle for added stability when the going gets greasy. And the utility? Well, the cargo space is big, not excessive. The tailgate lifts up high. It isn't motorized, but it is nice and light, and the power folding seats add convenience and flexibility all day long. So let's sum up this athletic and flexible luxury crossover SUV that thinks it's a sports sedan. You'll like the powerful and high-revving engine, the performance-tuned powertrain, the finely honed ride quality, and the car-like attributes blended with SUV-like attributes. Extra points for the powerful headlights and the powerful stereo system too. You may wish for a slightly more modern infotainment system, and for the money, some shoppers will notice there are bigger and more fuel-efficient crossovers available. Mileage on my watch landed at 12 liters per 100 clicks of premium. Thank the big power engine, and remember that if you want to play, you gotta pay. End of the day, consider the QX50 as a high-utility, high-performance, highly flexible option in a new luxury ride when you really want a luxury sports sedan but need some extra space. Best of all, the price, packing heat under the hood with that slick powertrain and 325 horses as standard. This luxury rocket ute starts well under 40, with the loaded tester coming in around 48. When it comes to performance, luxury, and versatility, you could do much worse for the money. Thanks for watching.